Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome back to another Post-Maafa Reconstruction by MelaNation. Everyone knows that MelaNation is presenting a new social media economic system app for the melanated people. I want to thank everyone who does come and tune in with us every week. We're here every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time.
There's a there's an echo.
Is there an echo? Interesting. I don't hear an echo. Hopefully the echo resolves itself. I don't have any others. Are you still
Okay,
hearing it?
so far so good.
So far, so good. All right. Yeah, it's always those technical issues that we have to look out for. But yes, I just want to first off thank
Well,
everyone
I'm hearing
for
myself. Something.
you're hearing yourself. You might want to turn down the audio. Maybe if you turn down the audio, do you have two systems going at the same time, like a phone and a computer? Meanwhile, while you're working on that, let me just again reiterate that we are here every Wednesday, Mountain Standard Time. And I was just talking to our special guest speaker who I'll be introducing later on. I'll be introducing Ms. Lorreen Pryor at 6:30. And we were speaking about the time zone differences and how the daylight savings just changed. So now we're on the same time frame as in California. Just keep in mind that Arizona time, we do not move. So if you're in another state, you're not in Arizona, when daylight savings time arrives and you switch an hour ahead or hour prior, that's going to move our air time around as well. So I am here with Miss Lizzie Woody, who is our PR manager. Miss Lizzie, would you like to introduce yourself?
It's repeating what you're saying right now.
Yeah, that may be something that's on your end. You may have an echo due to having a couple. Do you have a couple of things going at the same time? Do you have like a laptop and a cell phone?
No.
No?
Well, I'll try to check it, but whatever we're saying, it's repeating it.
Okay. You may want to mute your mic. That might help if see if that stops the echo, or you want to log out and log back in. And while you're taking care of that, let the audience know exactly where we can be found. So you can find us on YouTube at MelaNation App. You can find us on Facebook at MelaNation App. Messenger, we're definitely on Messenger. If you go to our Facebook page, join our community. We're here listening, and we're here reaching out to the community to see exactly what ideas the community may have. We're looking to implement ideas for the up and coming app. This app has over 400 pages. It's been done 100% professionally. It is powered by Google Maps. So, there's so many different features on the app. In fact, let me go ahead and let me play this video so you understand exactly what the app is about.
The emergence of an inspired event is now on the move, requiring all hands on deck. So here's why you should share. We have substantially invested in a systematic approach to Black economics. Our mission is to empower and uplift our community, both online and in the physical world where birds fly. Interestingly, your monthly vote steers the direction of the company. Introducing MelaNation, a cutting-edge TV and an internet platform. It's making its way to the world stage with over 400 pages of state-of-the-art features. Features include movie streaming, a production studio for influencers where your production will be displayed through the television, a dating site that can be accessed through the TV, a Google Maps powered satellite mapping system for registered Black-owned businesses and entertainment, making it easier for you to locate the community near you, and much more. We're bringing everything the community needs under one roof in order to build the proper infrastructure across the nation. Learn more on the Facebook page, family. The time is now for your participation to shape the direction of this community-powered company.
Ashe, ashe, ashe. And for those of us who were here last week, you know that we just came from the Fam Blam. The Fam Blam was fantastic. There was a lot of Black-owned businesses that showed up and showed out. We had the opportunity to spread the word of MelaNation and to contribute to and patronize some of the companies that were out here. Lots of food vendors. Israel Roots was there, and he really allowed us to, have a good time. So yeah, the Fam Blam was fantastic, and I look forward to the 18th annual Fam Blam.
The financial investment.
Yes, indeed. So what we'll do, Ms. Lizzie, how's your sound? How's your sound at this point? So what we'll do is we'll go over to the melanation.co webpage. So you can see that you can reach us on the webpage. It is melanation.co. Okay, so here's the page here. Just so you understand a little bit more details about what we're doing, what our project is. Every MelaNation starts with you. Mela Community is a powerful all-in-one platform designed to connect, empower, and elevate the global melanated community. From networking to business growth to content events and opportunities, everything lives in one ecosystem. Mela Community is not just another social media app, it's a digital nation where culture, commerce, collaboration come together. Whether you're a creator, entrepreneur, professional, or community leader, this is your home. Mela News is one of the core features for the Post-Maafa Reconstruction. Without being able to have our own voice, our own narratives, we're not able to. So the Post-Maafa Reconstruction phase begins with narrative serenity. After cultural development, extraction, and distortion, our first responsibility to reclaim our power to define reality for ourselves. Reconstruction cannot occur while our story is being told by outsiders, filtered through hostile systems, or reduced to spectacle. People disconnect from their own narrative cannot coordinate their future. And that's what we're looking to do. We are looking to coordinate our future. So MelaNation have over 400 pages of state-of-the-art features, and movie streaming is one of the features that we utilize as a strategy gateway to reach our community at large. Our culture draws us in, but consciousness keeps us together. Through shared stories, music, creativity, we gather the people, transforming attention into alignment and participation into purpose. Galvanizing the community is not just a slogan, it's a mechanism for empowerment. So on the app itself, we have a marketplace so you can buy and sell items. We have job opportunities, employment search, so you can find jobs. We have the regular social media content where you can create profiles and you can reach out to friends and family. We have a family tree where your family can help you to build the connection so you understand where you came from, what your family is. You're able to submit ads. We do have courses and learning. So you can find Students, if you're teachers and students, you can find teachers to learn whatever courses you're looking to learn. We are building one ecosystem, and our purpose for coming on here today, the entire purpose is to keep our ears open. We want to have our ears open so that we can hear what is necessary, what our community believes should be done. What type of activities, what type of features do you believe should be on an ecosystem for the melanated people? That's why we're here today. So what I'll do is let me explain exactly why we call this the Post-Maafa Reconstruction. A lot of people don't know what Maafa means. Maafa is Swahili, and it means the great disaster. When we're talking about systematic racism and through things like redlining or colonization, when we're talking about how Black people or African people or melanated people are go to jail on a higher frequency than other nations, other than our white counterparts. When we're talking about Jim Crow laws, the word Maafa stands for all of that whole system of oppression. So we're claiming that we're currently in the post-Maafa, meaning we have the skills to overcome those challenges. We have the means and the availability to put those things behind us and take control of our own destinies and our own future. So we're no longer going to allow the systematic structure to hold us down. We're going to come together and we're going to uplift each other and we're going to overcome those struggles. So that's why we're calling it the Post-Maafa Reconstruction. And history always tells us that even the greatest dynasties fall. Even the greatest dynasties fall and they rise again. Between one dynasty and the next is called a reconstruction phase. So we've been down for over 400 years. And this is something that history shows us. History shows that we're down over 400 or 500 years from time to time. But then there's a reconstruction phase. And that's where we are now. We are currently in the post-Maafa, Maafa meaning the struggles, basically the Holocaust for melanated people. The Holocaust happened in one location for a certain amount of time, but the Maafa happened worldwide over 400 years. So we're talking about like a super Holocaust. That's what the Maafa would be. It's like a super Holocaust that spans centuries. And we're making a declaration that we are putting that behind us and we're putting our best feet forward. So I definitely am glad for everyone who comes to join us at the Post-Maafa Reconstruction. And we do want to hear your comments. Please go into our comments and let us know exactly what's on your mind, how you feel, because we're here to listen. I see Righteous Too Blessed says, how y'all doing, family? Peace and love. Peace to you as well, Righteous. You're definitely appreciated. But yes, we are literally here at 6 o'clock Mountain Standard Time every single Wednesday, specifically for you to reach out to us. You can also reach us on the Facebook page and on our webpage, which is melanation.co. So another important word that's really, really important to us is Sankofa. Sankofa means, it translates to go back and fetch it. That's what Sankofa translates to. But when we're saying go back and fetch it, the it that we're referring to is our origins, our history, our knowledge, our ancestry, Hold who you are. Don't forget where you came from. That's the way we say it now. Don't forget where you came from. But the actual word for it is Sankofa. Go back and fetch it. If you forgot where you came from, reach back, study, learn your history so you know where you came from to help give us a trajectory of where we're headed. So that's what Sankofa means. And one of my favorite questions here is, why are we using the terminology melanation? Why are we using this terminology instead of some other word to express the community at large, in the community in the diaspora? Why are we using the word melanation? Why we're not saying, transatlantic slave trade or African? What's the reason behind using that name? And we did have Dr. Bantu come on here and express that it's a really good idea to have multiple phrases as long as we know the meaning behind the word. Words have associations, and we need to be expressing things with a purpose. The reason why we are calling the company MelaNation LLC and the app MelaNation app is because oppression was focused on the one drop rule. They say if you have one drop black in your blood, then you were potentially subjected to become a slave or oppressed or less than, our white counterparts. But there's no such thing as black. Black is not a scientific term. The terminology that was supposed to be used is the actual scientific term that gives us our pigment, our pigmentation. That term is melanin. Melanin is the chemical that gives melanated people their skin tone. Now, melanin, everyone has melanin in their system, no matter what nationality you are, but there's something specifically called EU melanin that's more prone for dark-skinned people that lighter-skinned nations do not have. So when we're talking about our family, we're talking about people that may not have been on the continent of Africa for a very long time, but they still originate in Africa and they still have been oppressed based on their skin tone. So we're focusing on attacking the oppression. Since the oppression is our focus, we need a term that counters that oppression. So being that we were oppressed based on our skin tone, and our skin tone comes about based on the chemical of EU melanin, then the name melanation accounts for everyone across the diaspora. Now, I do also like the term African, because even though some people might argue our origins, African is a landmass where, melanated people originates from. And having a landmass behind us, that gives us more power, more strength, and it gives us more than just nothingness. The term that I really am going to be pushing to move beyond is the term Black. The more I research it, the more I understand what this term means, the less I am willing to use that term. I'll use almost any other term besides Black, and I'll tell you why. We looked up the origin of the word nigger. The word nigger simply means black. That's what it means. It means black. In Spanish, it's negro, and Latin is nigger. That's what the word means. It means black. And we don't like to be called niggers. And I definitely understand that. We're definitely not going to be called niggers. We're not going to say, yeah, you guys can call us niggers now, because it's been used in such a way that it suppressed us so much, and they've used it in such a horrible way against us that we chose not to be called that. And society listened, and they stopped calling us niggers because of how we looked at it. However, that word is Latin. It means black. So when we told them not to call us niggers, to call us black, all we did was tell them to change the language. Changing the language does not change the word. The word is still the same. Nigger and black, Negro, it's black. That's what it means. And in the 60s, we had a huge movement where we decided, okay, being called black was a good thing. We used the word nigger, changed it to nigga as a term of endearment. And we did the exact same thing for the word black. Mind you, it's the exact same word. The word has not changed. It sounds different because it's a different language. So we use black now as a term of endearment. There was a huge movement in the 60s. I'm black and I'm proud. James Brown. We have so many songs about being proud of being black. We're literally just saying we're being proud of being niggers. It's exactly the same word. There is no power behind the word black. It doesn't give us any advantage. In fact, does anyone know how the term black came about? There's no such thing as black people. There's no such thing as white people. This was a creation. This is a social construct. That's what the word black people and white people is. There's no black people in nature. There's no white people in nature. This was a social construct. Does anyone know why this social construct was created? The reason why the social construct was created was due to the slave trade, specifically for the slave trade. There was no such thing as a black person or a white. We were called by our nationality. We were called Moors. We were called Ethiopians. We were called all different kinds of things. But when the transatlantic slave trade got here, they needed a way to separate the potentially slaves and the potential slave masters. So what they started to do is they started to separate us based on a category that they made up called white people. White. White gives the oppressor an advantage over black people. That is why we were started to be called black. That's why the concept of black came into being. So when we're using that terminology, not only does it disenfranchise us, it also plays into the systematic racism that's always been going. So that's one of the things that I really want to stress, and why we're calling our system not Blackonomics or Powernomics. We're calling it MelaNomics. MelaNomics. And we really need to address the terminology because we've never been able to give ourselves a name. These names came from our oppressors. They call us the minority. They want to remind us that we're less than them. So they call us minority. Minority. That's what they call us. They call us black, what gives us no advantage whatsoever. And they call us minorities. And we've never had the ability to name ourselves. So one of the things that I'm going to be pushing, especially on the app, the MelaNation app, is that we need to be called originals. If you're going to call me something, call me original, right? Call us the first ones, right? Give us a name that means something positive in reference to who we are. Don't continue to call me less than you. Don't call me minority, right? And that's what MelaNation gives us. If we unify under one program, what happens is we're then able to do things like name ourselves. We have a voice at that point, and we don't have to rely on the systematic approach that has been oppressing us over the last 500 years. So that's why we're here, right? Am I right, Miss Lizzie?
I'm back.
Yes,
let me just say, I had the YouTube channel on, so that was more than likely the background because it was showing the YouTube channel.
Right.
So I turned it off, so everything is better now.
That
Anyway, hello world, this is Lizzie Woody back.
Yes, indeed. Lizzie, did you ever get a chance to introduce yourself?
No, I did not.
Let's do our introduction before we bring on our guest speaker.
Okay, hello out there. This is Lizzie Woody, longtime resident here in Arizona, about 40 years. and most of my time here, I've been sharing information to the Black community, trying to make sure that we get the things that we need. We hear about the things that can help us better our lives, all of that and more. So, and MelaNation came around, and it actually was um, actually what my vision was. So I immediately said, I want to go to that place, and so that's where I am now. And hopefully, this is enough for you to say the same thing. So thank
Ashe,
you.
Ashe, Ashe. So, I know the answer to this question, Miss Lizzie, but the mission that your life mission, can you tell us about your life mission?
Okay, I'm turning it up. Well, I I was in the Navy. I retired from the Navy with 20 years in 1987, and that kind of started my entrepreneurial ventures. Wanted to do things for myself the way I saw them, and I just started going out into the community, trying to figure out what's going on, what can I do to satisfy some of the things that I felt could be done better. This is kind of um, awkward, but but yeah, my journey started many years ago, realizing that a lot of us are not hearing what is going on in the community, so therefore we can't support it. And I tried different things. I did a newsletter that I had for a few years, just sharing information to people, and that was hard. That was hard work. And so now I'm in a position to where I know I'm reaching people, and I expect people to start listening to figure out how we can work cohesively together to make the changes that we need to make within our society. And MelaNation, happened to be the place that actually I heard what they were doing, and that gave me the opportunity to say, okay, I want to be there. I want to do that. So that's
Ashe.
it in a short nutshell.
Yes, indeed. And I agree. So it's interesting how we find our niche areas in life, things that we're called for. And when I speak to you in reference to your mission, as far as getting people aware that there's a lot of information that's just not being saturated, it was not going through our community. There's a lot of events that are happening. There's a lot of people that are
Oh, yeah.
doing their part on an individual basis. And because we're not getting the word out to the masses, their businesses are not getting the proper amount of support. And we know that if more people knew that those businesses were available,
Hmm.
that would uplift the community at large. So it's not that we have a lack in leadership, we don't have a lack in Black-owned businesses. It's not a lack in those areas. The
Right.
lack is specifically that the word is not spreading.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree. And that seems to be a hard realization for people to actually envision, what you're saying, because they're going to say, I put it here, I put it there, and they just don't support, which is totally, I feel, totally not true, because I don't feel that people um, want to say, well, I didn't know about it. It's because they didn't know about it because they didn't get it. So those lines of communicating and making sure that your information is getting out there, those are some of the missing things that I feel that we do not realize is happening. But we're getting better. We're definitely getting better.
This is true. And that's one of the reasons why we have MelaNation coming. MelaNation is going to be that ecosystem where people can get that information and we can reach more people and the people can understand the different. So we have business registrations on the app. and we have it on a timeline, we have it on a calendar. So people will be able to see what's going on in their individual, immediate, local community and in the communities across the nation. So that's another unique skill that MelaNation is going to be addressing.
Also, let me just say this. The fact that we're looking at melanation as that point to where when you hear the word melanation, you know that you can go to melanation to look for and find what you're looking for. That's the purpose of it. So if people know that I can go to this one place that I can get the majority of the things that I need or the questions answered, you know, that is what they're going to do. And this is taking nothing away from what's happening out there or what you're trying to do. You get your info. This has nothing to do with taking that away, because you are welcome to become a part of melanation yourself, because it's going to help you and it's going to help the community as well, if that makes sense.
Ashe, Ashe, and Ashe. So we have reached the time for the MelaNomics segment, so we can go ahead and bring on our special guest speaker. Before I do that, let me read Hassan 24's message here. Hassan says, "Hey fam, this isn't just a video, it's a reminder of who we are. It explores the MelaNation app while shedding light on parts of our history that deserve to be seen and understood. Peace and love, y'all." So I'll go ahead and bring on our special guest speaker. So Lauren R.
Pryor, Miss Pryor, Lorreen
Miss
Pryor.
Miss Pryor
Mm-hmm.
is a fearless advocate, strategist, and movement builder dedicated to transforming outcomes for the Black youth across California. As president and CEO of Black Youth Leadership Project, which is BYLP, she leads with purpose, champion quality, amplifying unity voice, and disrupting systems that fail to serve. A California State University Sacramento alumni with a background in media communication, Lauren spent 16 years legislative staff in the California State Assembly, where she develops a deep understanding of policy power and importance of advocacy. Under her leadership, the BYLP has launched transformative programs including mentorship, networking, civic engagement initiatives, and the youth-led podcast Black versus Board of Education. Interesting. A platform involving the voice of the youth people navigating today's educational system. Known for her bold voice, strategistic insight, and unwavering commitment, care, compassion, and concern, Lauren is a trusted advisor to families, schools, and policymakers alike. Whether in boardrooms, classrooms, or community spaces, she is a community builder. She is community to build the next generation of informed, empowered, and unapologetic leaders. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you reaching out and getting me on Melanation.
Yes, indeed. I ran across your information and I thought it was just the most wonderful thing. Anytime I see people engaging with our youth to educate, help uplift them, I reach out to you. That's the reason why I reached out to you, because I believe in the program that you have. Now, could you tell us a little bit about how you got started?
Yeah. So, again, thank you for having me. My name is Lorreen Pryor. I got started in the just as a staffer in the legislature in 2005, and they were like, "Hey, we have this program. We want you to be the staffer on the program." And that program happened to be Black Youth Leadership Project. Black Youth Leadership Project was started in 1999 by Capital Black staff who wanted to make the staff and our elected officials with melanin more accessible to the community. I took over as president in 2009. We totally rebranded the organization, and now we provide direct services, which includes educational advocacy to families in the community free of charge. So that means we go into schools and we help mitigate issues so that we restore our children, and we don't allow their spirits to be kind of hindered or snuffed out, because this educational system is very hostile. And if you don't know the language and you don't know how to deal with folks and you can't read policy or you don't read the handbook, you're at a disadvantage. So we really exist to level the playing field, and to love on our babies as they are matriculating through the education system.
That's good.
Ashe. And there's something about having our own educational system instead of sending our babies over to people who are looking to oppress us from the beginning to teach our children what they want to teach us. It's very important that we have trusted schools that are ours, owned by us, so that we can tell them from the melanated perspective, right? And so, how many children do you have? Do you sponsor, or do you have in your?
Well, we're kind of an anomaly, right? So I don't have specific, like we have certain programs that we do. So like for our legislative open house, where we take young people throughout California to the Capitol and they're basically elected officials for the day, we could serve anywhere from 100 to 150 kids during that program. In our support networks, we can serve up to 25. We probably have currently, I run a parent group, which is meeting outside this door. I have about 8 moms that bring their boys to our Black Boys Support Network on Mondays and Wednesdays. I have a girls group that runs on Tuesdays. So we have our Black graduation that comes up, and we could service up to, 300 families, right? Or individuals from the community. And then we also run a food program. We have a food pantry that's open every Wednesday. And so we are doing what we can to kind of stand in the gap for the services that our families need. We don't have a specific number because it fluctuates, but we service, I would say, about 500 individuals every year.
That is
Okay.
great.
Yeah, that is a very beautiful thing. So why is the community important to you?
I mean, I'm a product of the community.
Ashe.
Where our office is, I'm a product of this school district. This school district is currently #1 in the state for disproportionate discipline of Black children. So my office is here on purpose. I exist to kind of shake things up. I don't want to rock the boat. I want to blow the boat up. It's not serving our children the way that it needs to. However, I do understand there are some families who cannot homeschool, who do not have the patience, nor are they home to do it. So as long as our children are in this school system, Black Youth Leadership Project stands ready to combat any foolishness that they try or they attempt to present our children with. We are very well versed in policies, in procedures. I have co-written policies with school districts. I have formed relationships with school districts across Sacramento County, as well as law enforcement across Sacramento County, because I don't want our children's first interaction with law enforcement to be a negative one. So there are things that I picked up along the way as a 16-year veteran of the state capitol that have served me well in this role, taking on more for the community. I left my job after 16 years because my community needed me more on the outside. So here I am, and I'm ready to shake it up for sure.
That is great. I say you win the Oscar for all categories.
Oh, she's here.
I would agree with that if I were an actor, but I am absolutely 100% real. They are not ready.
I was getting ready to say that next. Oh, but you're real. It's not a
Yes,
fake.
ma'am.
You're
Yes,
not
ma'am.
pretending. This is real. And there should be a better award than an Oscar for something like that.
Yes, ma'am. And I mean, it's one of those jobs. It's a thankless job. It is a hard work, and unless you really believe in the potential of our babies and the potential of what we can do to restore our families, then you won't be successful in this work. And so I just have a heart for our children. I have a heart for our families, and I'm going to do what I can. I can't do everything, but I know I can do something, and I'm really, really ready to step into that for sure.
how effective does the community participate in what you're trying to do? Is there a lack of participation, or could you give me an idea as to how effective the community is in appreciating what you're doing? Or
So I think it fluctuates too. So right, how do I say this? So because of the way that I started my educational advocacy journey, it behooves the school districts not to tell parents about me. So the way that families find me is that they're in crisis and they're on Google and they're looking for somebody to come in and to help them with a specific issue, whether that has to do with individual education plans, IEPs, or 504s, whether it has to do with my kid is up for expulsion, my kid has a manifestation determination meeting. All these terms prior to me coming out of the Capitol were brand new to me. And so I had to learn how to do this stuff. So I started in 2018 with the educational component. Our families, when they're in crisis, we see them. After the crisis is mitigated, we don't see them too much. When it comes to the programs at the state capitol, we have a lot of registrations for that. Now, if you're talking about who shows up, sometimes that fluctuates. If you're talking about our celebration weekend, we have a really great turnout for celebration weekend. We do 3 days of events back to back to back to service our families. It's 100% free. Everything that we do is free because we understand that sometimes our families just don't have it. But
absolutely.
At the same time, we do understand that it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And so as long as we stay consistent and we stay ready to serve, we'll be successful for sure.
What about, let me just ask you, what about organizations? Do you have any specific organizations that actually support what you're trying to do?
Are you talking in terms of financial support or just any support overall?
Any type support as far as because there's a certain amount of community service or whatever that organizations are kind of supposed to be helping through your communities.
Yeah.
Outreach to help you in what you're trying to do.
Well, I can say that we are proud grantees of the NBA Foundation. We're grantees of Stop the Hate California, Elevate Youth California, SOR4 through the Department of Health and Consumer Services or Health Services. We're proud grantees of the McClatchy Foundation, for instance. So we do have some support out there. What I would like to see, honestly, is families more engaged in what is going on with their children educationally. Stop just dropping them off and letting them fend for themselves. They are walking into hostile territory, and parents need to be aware of that because we have to match that energy. Our kids will never be successful fighting adults. The adults have to assume the position. If we're going to leave our children in the systems, we have to be ready to assume the position to protect them. Oh, there's my baby. Hey.
Tell us about this picture. What are we looking at here?
This is a picture on the west steps of the state capitol from our legislative open house 2026, where we took the young people to the capitol and they were elected officials for the day. We taught them how bills become laws and how to enact that, not just in their neighborhoods, but in their communities and overall what that looks like in the state.
Beautiful. Beautiful. This is a gorgeous photo, and you can see that they are becoming more and more adult and educated in the right way.
We put them on the spot. I don't believe in sugarcoating it. This is the issue. What do you think? And it's not for adults to tell them how to think. It's for them to use their critical thinking skills, them to do their own research on the issue. For instance, I believe we were, one of the bills had to do with, they wanted to put fentanyl education into the K through 12 system. In Sacramento County, fentanyl overdoses have risen 400% at ages 13 to 25 for Black students. And so we are taking it on ourselves to be part of chipping away at that statistic by informing our kids, not necessarily telling them don't do drugs through our mindfulness-based substance abuse treatment program, but we're trying to get to the root of why they feel they have to self-medicate in the first place. Whether it's the familial structure, whether it's different stressors, dealing with their peers, we're trying to get to the root of the issue so that they are not self-medicating and that we are giving them tools to kind of figure out how to cope without using illicit substances.
Right.
Wow, that is a lot. So how do you define success?
You know what? I think again that fluctuates. If I can keep one kid in school and not get them expelled, I feel like I'm successful in that endeavor. If I can get a kid to turn over the vape pen during a group, I feel that's successful. If I can get a family to re-engage with the school community and not allow them to just have their way, I feel that's successful. So success looks different depending on what I'm working on at that time.
I understand.
Right.
That makes sense.
You mentioned several challenges in reference to the family members participating, having that family support structure,
Mm-hmm.
and you mentioned drug abuse. What would you say? Now, those are pretty big challenges, but what would you say are like additional challenges, or what's the biggest challenge you would say it is to the education?
Their lack of enforcement and follow through. Honestly, there are some children who are being bullied, and there's no follow through for it. Another challenge that I'm having is Black children are especially vicious to one another. I've sat in on different, what do you call it, where I was the mediator between Black girls, and I'm trying to get to the root of why do they hate each other so much. And I think that that is a challenge for me because I didn't grow up hating other Black girls. You know what I mean? Like we had more of a sense of community instead of this vitriol that I'm seeing on our campuses. And it, of course, it was exacerbated by the COVID pandemic. Our kids missed out on fundamental and crucial communication skills and learning how to get along with one another. They just sat behind computers, and then we opened up the schools and we said, okay, nothing to see here. Y'all go back to business as usual. The problem is what was happening before was not conducive to a learning environment, and absolutely what's happening now is not conducive.
Right.
We just had across town, we just had a shooting on a school campus where all Black children are involved, Black boys, and someone was shot in the face twice and died. And we cannot have that type of carrying on. If we're really going to move forward as a people and come together as a people, we got to get a handle on what these young people are doing and how they're communicating with one another.
Thought about, or are you working on taking your program to schools, different schools, maybe like a after school thing or something like that?
Well, we're on one campus right now. The challenge for us, to be perfectly honest with you, is I hire formerly incarcerated individuals. And if they have felonies, they are not allowed on school campuses. But because of lived experience, they are in the best position to be able to navigate through some of these challenges we're seeing our young people in.
That's
so
true.
It's a double-edged sword. So we have to do a lot of our programming from our offices because the approach that we take can sometimes seem controversial if you're dealing with people who think that they're perfect and they've never made a mistake. But when you have folks who work for you that were locked up as teenagers, 14 years old, and they just got out in their 40s, and you're telling them because of something you did at 14 you're not allowed to be around children, I just think that defeats the purpose of really trying to get to the nexus of what the issue really is and how to really mitigate it.
It does defeat the purpose.
So let me ask, because you're talking about something really deep, really fundamental to any ecosystem, any community. You're talking about the children and the environment that the children are in.
Yes.
So let me ask you, what do you think is driving this? What's the underlying cause? I'm sure there's multiple causes, I'm sure there are multiple causes, but from your experience, like you were saying, you were growing up and the environment was different. You have love in the community, but that shifted.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think causes, what are some of the underlying issues?
I fundamentally think that we've gotten away from valuing life, seeing others as important as ourselves. I think that our children are being thrust into an educational system that doesn't highlight their brilliance, it tries to snuff it out.
Yeah.
I see that we've left our children unprotected because a lot of mamas are working 2 and 3 jobs. They did a thing to our community when they removed fathers out of the homes. They told us that if you wanted help, you had to get the man out of the house. So I
see.
think that all of those things are coming to the forefront, and we're seeing children who have been left to their own devices, trying to navigate a system that was never set up for them. However, they are not reading at the level to where they're understanding the policies that they must abide by, and so that's creating quite a bit of it's quite a bit of trouble. I mean, if you look at the way that laws are written in the state of California and implemented, depending on where you are, people can have different interpretations of the law as it's written. And that's kind of where I come from my advocacy. I'm gonna have my own interpretation too, and the best argument is going to win. So it's just learning how to navigate a system that wasn't set up for you, but still learning the rules enough to exploit it, if that makes sense. I hope I'm answering your question because
Yeah, you did. You definitely answered it.
fine.
But it sounds like you're saying that our children are born into a system where the odds are stacked against them.
Oh yeah. And they've been treated in such a way that told them that their lives are meaningless. And I think that some of them are starting to believe that because they behave as such,
Right.
if that makes sense.
That's it. And everything you said is exactly what's happening. Here in Phoenix, Arizona, there is a store downtown. There are no employees in there. You go into the store, you pick up what you want, and you just walk out with it.
Is that an Amazon store?
Yes, it is. Yes.
We had one closed over here in Elk Grove.
Oh, wow. I was like, what?
Yeah.
They're getting rid of people. You're not going to have contact. You're not going to be able to do eye contact, to read a person as they're speaking to you, to have respect for that person because maybe they're older or for whatever reason. You're going to lose human touch, conversation. And that's what they're trying to do.
Right.
Society.
We've gotten away from the basics. You know what I mean? We've definitely gotten away from the basics, the basic respect for your elders, authority. You don't have to like what authority is saying, but you do have to abide by it. And when you have the problem, then you bring it to somebody else who can challenge it. But our children, because they've been left to their own devices, they tend to think that they're going to argue, and it ends up being something totally different. And then, of course, with our parents, what I'm seeing, some are going to the school frustrated and they lash out and they're slapped with restraining orders. Then they come and get somebody like me. And we have to learn to navigate a system. If we're going to keep our children in it, we have to learn to navigate the system as it's set up, and learn how to exploit the way with using their own rules against them.
Exactly.
Right.
That's true.
So you're basically an intermediary against the system that these children are born into, and helping them navigate because you have the experience and the wisdom and the know-how. So that's challenging on your behalf as well, right? That has to be somewhat challenging. I know you're equipped and you've studied, and I'm sure that you have the resolve, but what is it that keeps you going through all of this adversity?
I think the best way to answer that is I don't even remember what year it was now, but not too long ago, it might be 10 or so years ago, CPS came into my home based on an allegation from a school. They did not ask me about it. They came in and they removed my stepdaughter. They put me on something called the the CACI list, the California central index for child abuse central index. And at that moment, I realized that they could affect my life moving
Right.
forward if I didn't figure out what the heck they were talking about, how this system was supposed to run, where the gaps laid in. Because, you know, when mandated reporters report something, there doesn't have to be any factual evidence to it. They can report whatever they want to.
Right.
And the issue for me was that it was another Black person who did it. And instead of asking me about certain things, they embarked on a course of abuse. In my opinion, they embarked on a course of abuse that could have ended with me not being able to be in the position that I'm in today. And while they took my child, my stepdaughter away, she was sexually assaulted in foster care. And that added another level. And it's like, no matter what happens moving forward, I am never going to allow this to happen to another child.
All
And
right.
so that has been my resolve. That's what I continue to remember happening to me. And there are kids who need to be removed. This child did not need to be removed, did not need to be put in a detrimental situation, but they chose to do so anyway. So I make it my business to fight systems. That's all.
Good. Great. Hats off to you.
That's
You're
powerful. That's
Yeah.
powerful.
I
I'm
like
sorry to
you.
hear that about your daughter. That's a rough situation for anyone to go through, and it's a traumatizing thing. And
Absolutely.
the thing is with trauma is not something that you experience just during that event. It lingers,
Absolutely.
and without the skill sets and the time to heal from our original traumas, then it's very difficult to have a happy, successful life. It's very difficult to move forward if someone out of the blue that doesn't have to have evidence. You said they don't even have to have evidence. They
Mm-mm.
just have to make a claim
Right.
out the blue and just come into your house. Where's the safety? Where's safety in that?
Well, it's very reminiscent of what they used to do to separate families back in the slavery days, right? You just get a whim and you just come in and do what you want because there's this paternalistic system where they know better than Black parents what's best for their own children, right? And it created quite a defiance in me. And I just want to shout out one of my besties, Dr. Charity Chandler Cole, who did her dissertation on From Mandated Reporter to Community Supporter, talking about the dangers of how the mandated reporting system is used detrimentally against Black families and how it causes more harm than good. And so I just want to shout her out because that just further bolsters the work that I do in finding credible evidence to back up my claims about what I'm saying is hostile in the education system.
Okay, shout her out again. What's her name again?
Her name is Dr. Charity Chandler Cole. She's the author of Stranger Danger. My sis is powerful in her own right, but I got to sit in on her dissertation defense, and so I am able to use that information to further bolster my claims of what is happening to our children in the education system.
All right. Okay, Charity, keep on doing what you're doing. We appreciate you.
I have a question. As far as us as Black folks coming together to form organizations, national organizations that address people as yourself that's trying to help our youth, to be one of their main focuses, to have enough people so that our communities can actually have a resource that will help, because a lot of it, the parents, they can only do what they are trained to do.
Facts.
So do you understand what I'm saying?
You're saying the question,
organization that's what they do. They go around and they check on the community, on the organizations as yourself and others, to make sure that we are affecting our community, affecting our youth.
Well, I think that we have to be careful because everybody Black don't have the same desires for our children, right? All skin folk ain't kinfolk. And so we have to be very, very careful of who we're going to anoint or appoint to do that type of work. There are some folks in the business for money, and there are some folks who are in the business for the right reasons.
Totally agree.
And
Totally
we can't hook our star to everybody, because, you know, I like to say, I don't like to work with folks who poking holes in my boat while I'm trying to row.
Right.
And so we just have to be very careful with who we link with, make sure their hearts are in the right place. But I'm all for us figuring out a way to link arms in protection of our children. I think that that's very, very important. But how we do it and with whom we do it is going to be the determining factor of what's going to be successful or not.
So how do we get you to come to Arizona with that program? How do we implement that here?
Oh, you can invite me. I'll come sit with y'all.
Okay.
Invite me. We could have a whole conversation.
She's on MelaNation Apps. We can do almost anything.
Yeah, we need to do that at the schools here. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Here. It needs to be everywhere, but you got to start one place at a time. So
yeah, and I mean, they keep trying to drag me to Southern California. So I have a few families that I'm working with in Southern California until we're able to really build that out. I'm just showing up and figuring out how to best support our babies. So yeah, it's, you know, again, I'm very selective in who I link with. I can't turn this vision over to everybody because I don't want it to stall.
right.
I believe our children need champions who are going to be consistent, who are going to be in it for the right reasons. And so I definitely, if we're talking about being a gatekeeper of sorts, I'm definitely a gatekeeper of what's going on in this particular program, because we have a lot riding on it. Not just trying to, or not just disrupting the school to prison pipeline, but also going back and pulling our formerly incarcerated folks up with us, because we know when they get out of prisons, they are not afforded certain opportunities. And so we're going to stand in the gap for that and expose them as much as we can, and give them something to look forward to, and some way to use the expertise they do have to serve other folks. And so I think if we tap into that, we would have a workforce ready and willing to service these kids. But of course, we got to vet them too.
That is great. I'm so glad you came up with it and you're sticking to it.
Oh yeah.
So sure. you told us a story that, you know, was really impactful in reference to how you got involved and where your determination comes from.
Yes.
Now, being that you're determined and you've overcome so many challenges, let us know about some of the accomplishments. What are the accomplishments that you're most proud of?
See, and that's a really sticky situation for me, because I don't tout my accomplishments. I just do the work. But I would say to date, we've probably had 2,500 kids come through the legislative open house program. I've had several kids. For instance, the former mayor of Stockton, Michael Tubbs, who's currently running for Lieutenant Governor of California, he came through my program. Council member Devin Murphy down in Pinole in California, he came through my program. I have several kids, like I have 2 kids at Cal Berkeley, one graduating this year, another one that's in her sophomore year. She helped me found the podcast that we run through our nonprofit. So I think that, of course, there are individual successes. I've had kids graduate from Spelman, from Morehouse, from Howard, or Cornell. Those are impactful. But I think the fact that this is a Black-run nonprofit, and it's still functioning. It's not a micro business, which is one or two employees. I used to have a staff of 15, but we had to dwindle it down because their hearts were not in the right place, and we couldn't serve effectively with that amount. So I have about 7 folks now, and we're still functioning at a high level. I took this nonprofit over. It was making about $15,000 a year. I took it to $1 million valuation. So when we're talking about the work, when God puts something in you and it is part of who you are, it is going to be successful if you continue to work at it. And so I think those are the things that I'm most proud of. The other thing, as a personal note, I get to employ my mother. I get to employ my aunt. I get to employ people from the community, my formerly incarcerated brothers and sisters. I get to create opportunities. To me, that is successful. That is success for me.
That is successful. And what you said about God put you in a place wherever God guides, He provides. So that's
Absolutely. And I'll just say this. Like I told you, I started with BYLP in 2005. I took over in 2009. I got my first paycheck in 2021. So this was something that I was doing for free. I do not apologize now for making the money that I do now.
Mm-hmm.
However, I have never been guided or led by money. I've been led by what God has put in me and my desire to see our community whole and healthy. And we believe in leading from the cornerstone of care, compassion, and concern. So,
yeah, that's it. That's it. I hope you continued success. I call that success.
Yeah, that is an extreme amount. That's a lot. And I know you said you don't count it, but yeah, I believe in giving people their flowers while they're here, right? You know, progress is a process, and it sounds like you've had a lot of challenges and you've overcome a lot of challenges. And in the interim, you've helped a lot of people become more successful. So you deserve your flowers, definitely, right? And people sometimes feel uncomfortable. You know, as our community, we sometimes feel a little uncomfortable receiving the accolades and rewards that we deserve. And I'm here to tell you now, you deserve them. You definitely deserve those accolades and those flowers, girl.
I agree.
This is beautiful.
Hey, I just wanted to make my mama proud, so it is what it is.
You've done that.
Yes.
Do your alumni come back to to show your current people what they can do, what they can accomplish by
Sometimes
doing
they do. It depends on what they have going on, but sometimes they do. In this picture particularly, so I mentioned Charity. Charity's in the front row in that blazer with the all black on to the left. And then I'm in the red pants, and right next to me is one of my students. She came through the Legislative Open House when she was 17. She came back this year and brought 4 kids with her from Los Angeles. So we're able to do a little bit of here and there, but of course, you know, I always want more. I want that whole staircase to be filled with Black children who believe that they have a part in what's going on in California, and I'll need them to assume the position. But until they do, we'll keep rocking where we're at.
Right. So what lessons have you learned by serving the community?
What lessons? Everybody needs a champion. Everybody needs somebody who's going to hold them up. The other thing I've learned, I didn't realize that we didn't know so much about what this school system was doing to our babies and the detrimental impact it was having. And I think that the more that we're able to get the message out there and encourage parents to read those handbooks, to learn the systems that they're keeping their kids in, the better. The other part, everybody's not going to say thank you, right? And you still have to keep moving. Even if you don't get your thank you, if you don't get your flowers, right? You still have to keep moving because the mission is greater than you. So that's what I would say. And I am nothing without God. I can't do anything by myself. I'm grateful for the support system I have right now. But I realize that it has to be, I have to reproduce myself. I'm not going to live forever. And so finding the right people to carry the mantle forward is going to be just as crucial as keeping the work going present day.
So what advice would you have now for the children or the kids that are listening?
Advice regarding life, regarding which
any advice that pops in your mind that you would give children that are listening to us now?
What advice would I give children? Your voice is powerful. We have to invest in their voice. They have to find activities that would help them develop their voice, whether that is serving in student government, whether that's, taking the opportunities like the legislative open house to cultivate what it is that they stand for. I would tell them to not to um, get involved with risky behaviors. Why? Because those have a detrimental impact on your mental health,
Yeah,
not
talk
just
to
your
them
body.
right now. Just talk to them. Talk to them right now.
The choices that you make now in your teens are going to follow you to your 20s and 30s. So we have to encourage better decision making. Everything that looks good is not good for you. All the people that say that they love you, some of them could care less about you. So just learning how to develop those really authentic relationships. And, sometimes our parents don't get it right all the time. However, listen to your parents. They've been through some stuff. I can remember I was running a camp. I had brought 160 kids to camp, and I went into the bathroom and I did a workshop for the kids, and I went into the bathroom and the girls were talking about me, talking about, oh, well, she don't know me. She don't know everything I've been through, blah, blah, blah. She needs to shut up, blah, blah, blah. So I came out the stall. I said, I heard you had something you wanted to say to me. And they ran out of the bathroom. And this is the thing. A lot of times our kids don't know what they don't know. And because they think they know everything, they put themselves into really harmful situations. And sometimes they what they say, they write checks their behinds can't cash.
Right.
And I believe in being a realist with children. I didn't have it all together either. I didn't know everything, and I thought I did, and I ended up making some bad decisions. So learn from it so you don't have to experience it yourself. I'll say that.
Now, looking back at your life, what
Yes,
would you do anything differently?
of course. Of course. I probably I would have learned to say no before now.
Mhm.
I think being a people pleaser has been more detrimental to me than not. I think that I always wanted people to feel like they mattered, even if it meant sacrificing myself.
Right.
And so I would change that. I would say no quicker and faster. I would stop staying in situations that didn't serve me.
Mhm.
I would leave jobs quicker that were killing my self-esteem, I think, and talking down to me as a person.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, there's a lot I would redo.
So been there, done that. I understand. And I remember looking at the Oprah Winfrey show way back then when she was on the air. And she said that her relatives and friends would call her and ask her for money because they knew she had it. And
Oh,
so
for sure. That's me. No.
she, she said she would always give it to them because she said, well, shoot, they know I have it. So she them. But as she got older and she learned how to, deal with her money more, whenever people would call her, she was happy to say no. She learned to say no.
Yeah.
So kind
I
of
wish I wouldn't have learned it now. I wish I would have learned it back then because I think I could have saved myself some heartache. But yeah, for sure, I would have said no before now.
yeah.
And
But
then another one thing, when I have a thought to check on somebody, or I won't put it off. I wish that I would act on it right then. I recently lost somebody extremely close to me who was like a father figure. The last time he sent me a text, he wanted me to come to a game that he was coaching. I showed up at the game, but I didn't stay to talk. And I wish I would have stayed and talked, and I wish that I would have expressed in person what I ended up expressing through text message before he passed. And so just take those opportunities as they present themselves, not wait till tomorrow is what I would say.
I think everything happens for a reason. You got the
I
text
know.
and you went, but you didn't fulfill everything that was in your heart to do.
I was so tired that day. I had come from a couple of schools, and I just like, okay, well, at least I'll show up. And then I took a picture of him from where I was sitting, like, see, I showed up. But I wish I would have stayed behind the talk because he was very, very important to me.
Mm-hmm. So that's understandable. Wow.
Right. So yeah, it sounds like you've had a lot of experience and you've
Too much.
impacted
Hmm.
a lot of people in the community. So the question here is, what model do you live by? What would be your model?
I have a couple, but one that came to mind first: a child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth.
Say-
Um, a child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its
Mhm.
warmth.
Oh,
Yep,
wow.
to feel its warmth.
Ah,
Yeah. And so I don't ever want to be part of that village that they feel they have to burn down to get my attention. They have my attention immediately, and my job is to put my body in between them and the adults or the system trying to harm them.
that is good. So,
Okay.
do you by any chance know your mission statement? Could we hear that?
Oh Lord, I'm sure I could pull it up. Hold on, real quick.
Okay.
I should know. I should know it, but I can tell you from my brain, but I don't want to get it wrong.
I agree. I like that.
So let
We
me
want to
see.
hear exactly how it goes. Thank you.
While you're looking that up, you said you had another model. What was your secondary model?
Well, the one on my Facebook is the question is not who's going to let me, is who's going to stop me.
All right.
Okay.
That.
we are at a point where we need to stop asking for permission. You know,
Oh yeah.
how do we
They
go
said
to
if
the
they don't
people?
give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. I got my chair in my car. I carry it all the time
All
because
right.
I'm not asking for permission. I'm not here to ask your permission to be heard. I'm going to speak, and then you're going to do what you can do about it.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Everybody, I like her. I really like her.
Oh, thank you. BYLP exists to protect students, support families, and help communities navigate school systems with dignity, clarity, and advocacy.
Right now, that's it. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
We can definitely see all the efforts that you've put in. So we're creating a social media app.
Uh-huh.
We have invested specifically for our community.
Mm-hmm.
What type of features or ideas could we put into this app that would support what you're doing?
Well, if I'm looking on our little page, I would say request advocacy support. Like if they're going through an issue within a school system and they need help navigating it, we have a request advocacy support tab on our website.
What is your website? I want to go there.
It is bylp.org, Black Youth Leadership Project. So bylp.org. You can find us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Uh, and we have our own podcast called Black versus the Board of Education. We go live every Monday at 4:30 PST on Facebook and YouTube. So we out here doing a little bit, and we like to talk. We like to challenge systems, and we like to interview folks about what they have going on, whether they're elected officials or candidates for elected office, or they're authors of books. A big shout out to Dr. Charles Bell, who came by and told us about his new book called No Restraint, looking at the legalized restraining and seclusion of our children on school campuses. So big shout out to Dr. Charles Bell.
All right.
Have you received any feedback from, since you have those social medias and everything, have you received any feedback from someone that likes your model and they would they wanted to, see how, they could duplicate?
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of questions about that. Again, we're a California-based nonprofit. I'm not sure how they would duplicate it, but I'm very particular with who is looking to duplicate it because we still want to maintain the integrity of what it is we're doing. There are a lot of programs who would want us to serve Black and brown children. Brown children have their own advocates. I'm here for the Black kids. And that does not mean I cannot serve other kids, but my focus is on the Black students who are the least served They are the highest they
Absolutely.
are at the lowest statistical category in every category in school except discipline. And so that is where my
Absolutely.
focus is. And I don't want them to turn it into or water it down or water down the mission or be scared of what the Trump administration is doing or requiring them to do.
Oh,
I
yes,
want
yes,
I want
yes.
to be authentic in the mission to service our children because they are the least served population in a school system.
Right.
Especially
Ashe.
out here. I'm not sure on the East Coast. I think it's a little bit different. They have a lot more Black teachers or folks who are able to service them out there. But here, where it's very covert racism, I believe it's overt in other places. It's covert here in California. And I just believe in challenging systems present day. And I don't want to water me down to suit your comfortability. I don't want to have to tone police myself to make you feel comfortable. The things that I think when I go into school boards, I'll tell them straight up, like Killmonger did on Black Panther. Y'all sitting in here way too comfortable. So it's my job to disrupt that system as is and try to make it better for the kids that are left behind in it.
That's right. That is it.
Ashe, ashe, ashe. You know,
Ashe.
I think this has been one of the most powerful sessions that we've had. I love what you're doing in California for the community. And as far as our company is concerned, we would really like to continue to support you and everything that you're doing. And we want to make things more accessible so that people know who you are, where you are. You know, we have your page up, the info at bylp.org, your phone
Mhm.
number on there.
And I'm
And
on Facebook. I mean, I think my name on Instagram is Rebel Flower because I used to wear this flower in my head when I went natural and I started trying to figure out what I'm gonna do with
Mhm.
myself. I used to always wear a flower, so I'm Rebel Flower on Instagram. On Facebook, I'm just Lorreen Pryor. Um, but you can always find me on BYLP as well. I'm Black Youth Leadership Project on Facebook, BYLP on Instagram, on I think it's Team BYLP on TikTok. I be trying to remember all these. I don't know. I'm getting older. Like I just let these kids do that. I ain't.
Well, Flower and Pryor, we got to have you both back here as soon as possible. We want to make you a regular. People need
Oh,
to
I
hear
would
about.
love that. I would love that.
Yeah, people need to hear about this.
this is true. So yeah, we'll definitely invite you back on in the future. We definitely want to see the progress and the different things that you have going, any new projects that you're working on. But yes, you are the greatest, and I just want to continue to thank you.
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you
ma'am.
so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Maybe when you come back, you can bring some of the students that have the service with you.
Oh, I could have pulled some in here while they were here, but they just left. Our group ended at 7. So
Well,
Oh,
we'll
that's right.
plan for them on the next time you come.
oh yeah, I mean, I think one of our mentors are still here if you want to meet him. I think he's still in this office if you want me to bring him over
We
real
Can
quick.
you send them the link?
Time. I don't know how much time we have left.
Oh, he just in the next room. I'll just bring him in real quick. Hold on.
Oh, okay, great.
Okay, this is it's awesome what she's doing. It's great, great, great.
Yeah, I mean, it really impacts me emotionally when we're dealing with the youth
Yeah.
because that's the foundation of I mean, the foundation of the family is mother, father, but the future is built on, and it's all in one basket. The future that belongs to the youth. So if we're instructing them, giving them the rites of passages,
Mhm.
and giving them the heads up, like she was saying, don't make the same mistakes that we made.
Right.
Learn from our mistakes so you don't have to go through those same exact challenges. That makes us so much more powerful than circling the same drain, going down the same hole, making the same mistakes.
Exactly.
So
I
yeah.
guess he stepped out. I tried to call him in here. I just sent him a text. If he comes in here in the next couple of minutes, cool. If not,
Right.
catch
Bring
him.
him the next time. Bring him on the
Yeah,
next.
for sure. And then I would love to bring my co-host on the podcast, Miss Melissa, who's a sophomore at Cal Berkeley.
Oh, that's
Um,
wonderful.
I would love for her to just tap in and talk to you all about, how we met during the pandemic and how I can't get rid of her.
Yeah,
And you probably don't want to.
Oh, I
But,
don't. That's my baby. I tell
you
her
know-
mom all the time, that's our baby.
Since we're talking about our Black youth and the male youth, the Black Student Union, I think, is so underrepresented now. Since I've been in Arizona, I know that we have one, but you don't really hear too much about them. I'm
Mhm.
saying that creating an arm to the Black Student Union, as they can be sort of mentors all across the country for our youth, if that makes sense. That's something that, I think we need to talk about. And
Well,
try
are
to
you
figure-
talking about the Black student unions on high school campuses?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
well,
to start with them.
I have to tell you, I'm not a proponent of them, and I'm gonna tell you why.
You're not one?
I'm not really supportive of what they have going on present day, and I'm gonna tell you why. Those BSUs have turned into everybody SUs. Their advisors, some of them have non-Black advisors. Some of them they're not safe spaces for Black students to actually express themselves. It has become kind of like the Rainbow Coalition in a sense, where we're not talking about Black history. We're not talking about what it's like to be Black students and navigate this system. What it is just a social club. It has turned into. It is nothing like when I was in high school where we had Black students in Black student union. It's just different now. And they say that it would be discriminatory to just have a Black student union for Black students. So I
Yeah,
just
I get what you're saying,
Yeah,
but that tells me that there's an issue there. So
for
those
sure.
issues will be resolved because that's we're talking about our youth.
right.
And
No
so-
matter how many times you bring it up, where is the safe place for Black students, the kids that you guys are not servicing on the same level of everybody else? And it's
Yeah.
just like, oh, well, we can't do that because that would be discriminatory. And I just think it's a bunch of crap. It's a crock of crap. And I just think that our kids need spaces for themselves. They need spaces where they could be held accountable, loved, held accountable, and serviced in a way that would help change the trajectory of their experience on that particular campus.
Ashe, I feel like we do. I don't want to bring it up, and I don't want it to be on this channel, but I do understand that a lot of our organizations don't stick to the program. I've noticed that throughout
That's
my
weird.
life, and that's unfortunate. So, and that's another reason why I'm so happy for you doing what you're doing.
Me too.
Right.
Because we have so many foundational organizations, and I couldn't name them, which I'm not going to do.
Don't do it. Because I probably got a problem with all of them.
Back in the 70s, we had the Black Panthers who came and taught us, showed us how to deal with police and everything. And they were helping the neighborhoods. They were not like gangbangers. But then after that, they went to jail. So many went to prison. Then these younger
Then
kids.
they allowed their mission to be co-opted because they let everybody in.
Yeah. And so these younger kids came in and they became gang bangers, killing each other, not protecting the neighborhood like the Black Panthers did from the beginning. So
it's I mean, but then again, you have to look at that because that was done on purpose, right? Them coming in and killing each other. They didn't have the guns in the community. Somebody brought those to them. Then they had the war on drugs, right? And then there was mass incarceration, and our babies are still feeling the effects of that. But they can't focus on our children, because if they start to focus on our children, especially here in California, they'll slap you with complaints of Proposition 209, you're being discriminatory. But the problem is specific. The solution must be specific. And so there's been a play on words, a play on policies. Everybody gets service, everybody gets resources except for Black folks. And we have to call that out and have to not be afraid to call that out. I will disrupt the whole meeting in a specific person in a specific place to talk about what I'm talking about.
Hey,
My
Flower,
thing is,
can
I
I
don't
just
wanna
call
talk
you
about
MelaNation?
I'm sorry.
Can I just call you MelaNation because you're speaking
Yes,
our?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You can.
Yes, you
Because I don't believe in all this, who shot John, whatever.
Mhm.
Let's look at the policy. Let's try to figure out why you are okay with resourcing this particular community, but over here we're just experiencing benign neglect, right? The
Yeah.
whole time. And so I'm not willing to sit in a conversation about discrimination, hate speech, hate incidents, hate whatever, if we're not going to center Black folks, because the report says, because I read
Right.
it, the report still indicates here in California, Black Americans are the most targeted group for hate crimes. So
Yeah.
unless we're talking about that, I don't want to hear about nobody else. I'm talking about Black people. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Every
Well, I
time.
don't want to cut off anybody, but I don't know how we're doing on time.
I'm not really overly concerned about time, but I am really excited and thankful for you coming on. And like I said, we'll definitely have you back on. So let's go ahead and let's schedule another session. Let's do that.
Whenever you're ready, just let
All
me know.
right.
I got some traveling to do, and I got to go see
Right.
about some babies.
All right.
Calling
Does
you.
anyone have any last
Calling you.
words?
Hold on.
Got to get back.
See, he calling me on my cell phone. Hold on, real quick.
There's a song, Call Me on My Cell Phone.
Miss Lizzie, do you have any last words before we end the live?
No, this was very eye-opening, and look forward to, you coming back to share more information.
Definitely.
Miss Janvier, do you have any last words before we end the live here?
I don't, but it's just that Flower Pryor has so much good information, and she's the best resource for things like that we need to have going on here. I can't get enough. I could talk to her all day. I mean, all
And then y'all about to get off of here, and he done walked in here. Come here real quick.
But we won't get off because he's coming on. We won't get off yet.
How we doing?
This is Mr. Fox. Oh,
How we doing,
see,
Queens? Okay, how you
Let
doing,
me-
brother? I see a brother on there. I see a Black Queen on there. I see another elder on there. How you doing? Let me start off with our elder. How you doing, Queen? My name is Mr. Fox. I don't know why I've been called in here, but I must send my respect before I say anything. My brother, how you doing over there? My name is Mr. Fox. Beautiful Queen. I left you last for a reason. I don't want to say you're the most beautiful person on the phone call, but I do want to say something positive to you. We all beautiful. That's why if I say you're the beautiful, the other sister up there in the corner gonna say, "Oh, what you trying to say about me?" I don't want them problems. So what I'm saying is,
Take
we all
away.
beautiful.
He's a hoot.
I say we've been
Listening to Miss Pryor here, about the system that you guys have doing with the children, people coming out of prison, and that flows so well together. And this is such a wonderful thing. I don't want to stop talking about it. I could listen all day. I was just telling her that I could listen all day. I can
We
listen all
know.
It's funny.
Shay.
I actually do it all day.
Oh, and Terrell's still in here?
Yeah, I'm still working with him as well. We actually.
Oh, we do have a student in here.
Yeah,
Okay. I
Tell
didn't
us
know
what
about
you
it.
Would you
do.
like to talk to him?
They want to know what you do.
What don't I do? I'm gonna say it this way. This is the best way I know how to say it, and I'm gonna say it this way only because of time purposes and being respectful of people's time. I make amends. That's what I do. I spend my time remembering that I was a little boy growing up who did some shit that I shouldn't have done, and I also remember the fact that I also done some stuff that I was taught, and I also remember people giving me a second chance, a third chance. I remember people talking to me that knew I had no change in me right now, but they knew to plant a seed still. They said, "Let me still plant this brother a seed that somebody else can water." Right. And as I move forward with those type of humble understandings in life, as I began to correct myself, I'm just making amends out here. That's what I do. I tell little boys stuff that a lot of us don't really look at. I tell little boys, do you know that you're supposed to pull the skin back on your uncircumcised penis and wash it? Do you know what it feels like to ask for help? Do you know why not to call females B words? Do you know why I'm asking you to participate? Do you know your moral place in society versus your moral place inside of your home? I know it hurts not to have a father. I'm not going to ask you, do it hurt? I know it does. And if you don't feel like it hurts right now, let me tell you it does. And let me tell you something about what I need you to do when you start feeling it. I'm gonna need you to acknowledge it. I'm gonna need you to know, little boy, that I'm not right. If you don't here, here's the information to go find it where you have it. Each situation is an individual situation on its own. So I'm just doing what the system ain't. I'm just loving us individually, same way I do when we got on the phone. There's a sister over there. That wasn't one black person on the phone. You're an individual. You're an individual. You're an individual. As three individuals, you like to eat at a certain time. You like to eat at a certain time, and you like to eat at a certain time.
Yeah.
I just don't understand what's wrong with acknowledging such a thing, or why it's wrong for you to eat at 3 different times.
Right.
You know, I listen to them, and sometimes they just want to be heard. Sometimes they just want to scream a bunch of lies at you. I hate you. I don't like you, and I don't know nothing. I don't know myself, and I don't and blah blah blah. And they just want to say that, and let them get it out just for it to correct them. So,
now, brother, you speaking the truth. All right.
That's what I don't know no other way to say it. I can say it more professionally, but y'all caught me on a whim.
I'm good. On a whim. We're happy.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
But he is the outreach coordinator for BYLP, as well as the coordinator for Time Done. Here we have a chapter of Time Done here at BYLP.
Mentor, coordinator, advocate,
lead mentor for our Black Boys Support Network.
All right.
And yo brother.
And your brother.
I'm nobody's sister, though. I'm nobody's sister, but I'm down with the sisters.
Okay. He's done.
Well, it seems like he has a message. He has a message to the youth.
Yeah, and I can tell they connect with him tire
Oh, for sure. They do. He's very effective. I was telling you about those school campuses and the type of men that I hire. Mm-hmm. He is one of the best, and the kids love him, but because of his past, he's not able to service them in the school setting, and I think it's such a travesty.
It is, because that brother is real, and that's what kids like to hear. They know pulling their leg or whatever you say, pulling.
And that's what we need. We need that representation.
Absolutely,
it's real.
And it's my job to encourage them and to promote what it is that they need and to kick open the door so they can follow behind me in some instances. So just getting him out there and making sure he has the resources to do so and the support to do so.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm doing for that particular population here at Black Youth Leadership Project.
Yeah, I can see that's great.
And see, I can see where this can grow into something. That's what I'm always about.
Yes,
you know, if we see it, we can be it.
That's right. That's what you're about. Exactly. All right.
Ashe. Thank you for bringing your partner on. That was a very beautiful experience. But let's go ahead and speak to our audience. Thank you for watching, everyone. We're here every Wednesday at 6 p.m. But in between time, in the meantime, reach us on Facebook at MelaNation App. Ms. Pryor, join us on the app. Join us on Messenger. And we're going to continue to bring more people on. And we're going to learn exactly what's needed in our community and what we can do to assist. That's what we're here for.
Okay.
Also go to our YouTube channel. You know, that's where the videos, the videos are seen on our YouTube channel, which is MelaNation App as well.
And I've already subscribed, so I got it.
Okay, maybe put some comments on there and where people can reach you too, if you go there and do some comments.
Let's see if I could do it from here.
I just did it for the first time today, and that was the back talk. It was playing.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I'll leave a comment.
Well, we want to so much for coming. It was such an enjoyable conversation. It was meaningful. That is the most important thing. It was very meaningful. And the way that you're helping the children with the service you provide. So I can't say thank you enough. And like I said, talk to you all day. All day.
All right. And that being said, we're going to go ahead and end our live. I'll thank everybody who has been watching. Thank you for watching. And see us again this time next week.
Absolutely.
I'll be here.
Ashe.
Ashe.